When picking search terms, I usually recommend that students lead with the law. So identify your cause of action or legal defense, and then use secondary sources to better understand your topic. And when you're looking through those secondary sources, pay particular attention to what elements are most at issue for you. Those are going to be some of the answers that we're going to then take and plug into our case law when we do our research. But starting big and broad with your cause of action, using secondary sources to better understand your topic, and then it will also get you a jump start on your research. It'll lead you to that additional primary authority. So take the 5 minutes that it takes to start in a secondary source. So if we were dealing with a hypo or an issue such as, can a U.S. Senator be held liable for defamation for statements made in press releases, newsletters, and on TV? I would identify my cause of action, and that is, can they be held liable for defamation? I'm going to go ahead and craft a search, elements of defamation. And I don't want to search within everything. I just want to search within secondary materials. I'll go ahead and I'll hit search. And now when we're in our secondary materials, we're going to have this answer card that comes up. It shows us the defamation. To establish defamation, a plaintiff must show the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. False statement, defamatory, published, suffer an injury, and degree of fault. Now, this is just the start of your research. Okay, this is the answer card that you can print, you can file away, but we really need to spend more time in the secondary sources and secondary materials. Now, all secondary materials are not created equally. If you see over here on the left, we have a variety of categories. We have law reviews and journal articles. These are great for your persuasive writing because these are going to have an agenda or an argument behind them. But they're not real great for learning the black letter law. And that's what we want to do right now is learn the black letter law elements of defamation. So for that, we want to focus on the treatises. So now as we go down, we have 9,235 sections of books talking about the elements of defamation. Now, what's good about secondary materials rather than case laws, you can go with a larger amount of results. You don't need it to be as specific and on point as a case may be. So 9,000 results isn't necessarily daunting because it's going to push the most relevant ones up to the top for you. And then again, it doesn't have to be directly on point with your fact pattern. And so as we're going down here, I usually just recommend reviewing the title. So we've got personal injury. It's the title of the treatise. And then we've got the title of the chapter, the 4 requirements for defamation. Okay, well, that's perfect. So we'll go ahead and we'll go in. And while we're in here, then we have the 4 requirements for defamation. And you've got the footnotes. So it tells you right away the jurisdictions have always differed to some extent articulating the elements. Where did they get that from? Take that footnote. It's going to lead you right to the primary authority. So in 5 minutes, we've gotten a treatise that's going to tell us a little bit more about the elements of defamation. We also have our footnotes, which are going to lead us to the primary authority, so the seminal cases, any governing statutes. All of that is just kind of the pool of our research is just starting. Now we'll go back up to the top again, and you want to also utilize the table of contents on the left. Pop that open. It's going to show you the rest of the book. So you can review the surrounding sections. Usually those are going to be helpful as well. Maybe you have a definition section. In this case, it looks like it even sets out each specific element has another chapter about it. If you wanted to view the full table of contents for this book to see what all of the chapters talk about, we can go view full table of contents right here. It's going to take it so it's just looking like a book in front of you. So as I'm reviewing these elements to prepare me for my second step, which is going to be going to then the case law, I want to be looking at these different elements and trying to decide, okay, which ones are going to be the hardest ones for me to prove. Not all elements in a cause of action are created equal. Usually, when you're fighting over a cause of action, some of the elements are gimmies. Some of the elements were just automatically met, and you just have to state that. The rest of them are the ones that you're going to be arguing over. So it has to be a false and defamatory statement. It has to be a publication. So in our case, it was a press release, a newsletter, or TV. Does that count as a publication? Maybe I'd need to find some case law that told me yes or no. And then also, there has to be a media or non-media status of the defendant. So our defendant was a U.S. Senator. Maybe something that we need to find some case law on there. And then also the public or private character of the speech. So again, he was doing that. He's a U.S. Senator. He's making his statements in press releases, newsletters, or on TV. We're going to need some cases that tells us whether or not that's public or private, and then also whether or not that's a published statement. So just some things to kind of file away. Of course, we can print this for free to the Lexis printer up here on the top. It's just going to print this one chapter. We can also add it to our folder if we wanted to just dump everything off within our folders until we get started. So that is step 1. Pick your search terms and lead with the law. Visit me in the next video for step 2, narrowing your results and looking in case law to find additional cases on point.